What's going on, everybody? It is episode 886 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. 3 o'clock just snuck up on me there. I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis actors. It's Mary. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend, and we're back for another beautiful Matcha Monday.
She's lying because there are flies in here, and they're driving her insane.
Well, they're gone now. We killed all of them.
Yeah, I think it's basically a fly graveyard in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't really see the ceilings because I mean, it was actually worse in the old studio because it was a bigger space, so the flies could hide.
Exactly.
And they were higher ceilings, so if they just wanted to hang out on the ceiling, you couldn't reach them. You had to get a stepladder, and even a stepladder might not be tall enough to get to the ceiling of that room. Here, you know, wherever they lay, you may swat them with the fly swatter.
No, but we got them. Job done. So I'm proud of that. We have a $50 super chat from Badump Bash to start with. I'm in a hotel out of town because I'm a big shot. Brought my PCC hoodie just in case. Last night temps dropped to low 60s. Moral, buy merch. Stay toxic, my friends. Well, thank you for buying the merch and repping the PCC brand.
I like it when big shots wear our merch.
Yeah. I mean, all of our fans are
big shots.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Minnesota, so I have to make a mandatory comment about whether 60s are really hoodie weather, but I'm not going to second guess.
I feel like we should actually, I don't know why we haven't done this yet, but we should just have a shirt that says Crisis Actor.
No, we were going to, and I think that was like the original merch idea I had, and it was like I don't think we were supposed to I don't think they wanted that merch made because it's kind of controversial. The term is controversial.
Wait, because it would get like banned from Teespring?
And when I pitched that idea was like right before Alex Jones like settled his lawsuit for like $1 gazillion dollars.
Okay. Well, then we should revisit.
We could
should revisit the idea and see if that will. I mean, it's almost certainly it fits.
I mean, there's been a vibe shift.
There's been a vibe shift.
Theoretically, with a vibe shift, we should be able to have Crisis Actor merch. But I pitched that a long time ago.
I don't think it would get banned. I don't think that Teespring would ban us for that. Highly unlikely.
I wonder if Tate McRae has McRacist shirts. She should.
Or Addison Rae. She could hop on that too. But she came up with like rays of sunshine for her fan base, which is lame. Yeah. I'm not a fan of either of them, actually, now that I think about it.
Would you guys like a Crisis Actor shirt? Let us know down in the comments.
Of course they would. I mean, obviously.
So guys, hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. What a fantastic way to start a Monday would be for you to subscribe to the channel and to like the video and to share it out with everybody so that you can argue in the comments section with, like your aunt that you don't like or your uncle that you don't like, or maybe you've got an estranged brother. You can share it with him and then you can argue about whether the content is good or bad down in the comments section. You should go and do that right now. Is the best way to start out your week. So what are we getting into today? Well, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Number one, of course, being that Sydney Sweeney has been labeled a Nazi propagandist because she did an ad for American Eagle, which nobody has worn since 2000. That's not true, actually. I see people with American Eagle shirts all the time. It's just usually at malls where people walk around with a dead blank-eyed stare. But she is being called a Nazi propagandist, and her ad for American Eagle is being called a eugenics ad.
Right, because they're talking about her genes.
Yeah.
With a G, not a J.
So we
have a 20 from Weary Traveler. I saw Fantastic Four Saturday night and enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 for me, and I even enjoyed Pedro's performance as Mr. Fantastic. My only complaint is that, spoilers, I wish Sue Storm had stayed dead, so there was some sort of loss.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the Pedro of it all in this one.
But
you know what? Yeah, that's the beauty of subjective art. Is you can love
you're wrong.
You can love the movie for whatever reason you prefer, and if his performance spoke to you, then it spoke to you, and that's a good thing.
Did Pedro's performance touch you inappropriately?
Yeah, like did it have anxiety?
Did it grope you?
I do love that Pedro's anxiety has spawned a second meme from Detective Dokes from Dexter, because he was the surprise motherfucker meme from 2015. Remember that video where he goes, surprise, motherfucker? And then it cuts to a guy going like, hard eyes, motherfucker. Some fries, like.
It rings a bell, but
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
He's now, the same character has now become a meme in 2 decades.
Wow.
10 years apart. So that's pretty impressive.
The natural life cycle.
I would be interested, Weary Traveler, if you saw any of the other movies that have come out this month, meaning Jurassic World, Superman, or F1 perhaps, and of all the movies that have come out this summer, which one did you find to be the best? So you should let us know. So what else are we getting into today? Well, pack it up, ladies. It's over and done with for y'all. AI is taking your gerbs. All the models are going to have to call it quits here soon because Vogue ran an AI ad campaign for Gap, if I'm remembering.
Guess.
Gap, same thing.
Which is another brand that is relatively irrelevant.
Yeah, but Guess ran an ad with AI models, and Vogue approved the ad, allowed it in their works, and now people are mad because they're taking their gerbs. They didn't care when we were told learn to code, but apparently, the models being told learn to code is going to be a problem.
Well, they also didn't care when the models were replaced with men or diversity hires, but suddenly when they're AI, it's a problem. I don't like it for my own reasons. I feel like this is just, conditioning us for our transhumanist future, but we'll get into it.
I think the plastic surgery did all that. I think the plastic surgery primed everybody for this.
Definitely.
I looked at a picture of this lady and I could think of like 3 examples of like people I've seen who look pretty much the same as this lady.
Yeah, if they're going to AI generate models, they should at least figure out how to generate some more unique looking AI models so it's less detectable.
It's almost like being actually human makes a difference.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. Also, we talked about the T-App last week. They were rating men and putting scores of reasons why these men are horrible. Not doxing per se, but doxing. And it's doxing.
Close to it, yeah.
And in a fit of weird, in a rebuttal that they have been doxed themselves. The app got hacked.
Yeah, 4chan users have now exposed the user database, all the pictures of these women and their driver's licenses.
If you believed in karma, you could say that's this, but it's not a good thing to leak anybody's information.
Well, we're not going to be showing people's names, but the pictures we will show because they did volunteer this information, so it's only fair.
We got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go ahead and get started then for me. Let's go ahead and get started.
For the audience.
It's a Monday, guys. You'll have to give me a break. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we did just get that super chat from Weary Traveler, but let's talk about Fantastic Four First Steps a little bit because its opening box office has come and gone. It opened to $218 million worldwide. It made $118 million domestically, and it made $100 million internationally. If you are wondering, yes, it did open under Superman, which opened to $220 million. But if I remember correctly, Superman also opened to $118 million. It just opened to $102 million internationally, which makes me think, did all the exact same people go see both movies?
Well, it says Superman got $125 million in the domestic box office for its opening weekend and $220 million globally.
Yes. Okay. So I got 2 different numbers there. I got 125 from one and 118 from another. I don't know.
Technically, in the U.S., Superman performed slightly better.
Yes, but internationally, and it won by $2 million.
Not by a lot.
Not by a lot. So, which is funny because there's way more.
Oh, we have another
20
with no message from Moon at Noon. Thank you.
He just felt like sharing. Thank you. What's funny about that is I saw way more discourse around Superman and whether it was okay to like Superman.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? There was a lot of outrage from both sides about Superman and people arguing for and against it super passionately. And when it comes to Fantastic Four, I've seen no such conversation happening.
Yeah, I liked it. A couple of people said that I was wrong for liking it, and that was really the long and the short of it. But if you had a strong opinion one way or the other about Superman, people got really, really upset. But the fact of the matter is that Fantastic Four has a high audience score in the 90s. It might have dropped before that, below that now, but it was in the 90s when it started, and it is now the highest grossing of any of the Fantastic Four movies, with the 2005 movie opening opening to 56 million, a cumulative 154 million worldwide. Silver Surfer opened to 58 million with 131 million worldwide. And then, of course, the ill-fated Fan 4 Stick opened to like $25 million, and nobody went and saw that one. The one with Michael B. Jordan in 2015. So it at least broke the curse of badly received Fantastic Four movies at the box office. But I think maybe the funniest part about all of this is like, I expect, and I'm not a box office expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I expect both this movie and Superman to end in the mid 600s and, you know, between the high 500s to the mid 600s as far as box office, meaning 550 to 650 to 700 maybe million worldwide. Now, I could be wrong about that for sure, but, you know, Jurassic World is already past there. Dino slop rules it all.
But people are saying that we're watching DC on its way to the promised land to replace Marvel in terms of cultural relevance.
I don't think either
in the
of
US,
them.
at least.
I don't think that we're ever going to reach a place again where one of those companies is wildly popular compared to the other. I think we're just kind of in an era of overall slop as far as superheroes. I think they had their time.
So both of them are kind of doomed?
I don't know if it's doomed, but they're not going to reach the old heights. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be movies that kind of break the mold and do really, really well. I'm sure Batman movies will continue to do well for DC when they come out, whether that means high 700s like Robert Pattinson's Batman movie, which still felt like not a lot to me. But, you know, they would obviously be killing for $700 million at the box office these days. Or if we're going to get billion-dollar movies like Nolan's last two films. But I think that's more down to the characters than it is to the studio having some type of inherent supremacy over the other.
And on the other hand, people are just clamoring for the dino slop.
They love the
Jurassic
dino
World
slop.
Rebirth has outperformed both.
I've got an interesting fact for you. The strongest age group for Fantastic Four was 18 to 34.
For which one?
For Fantastic Four.
No, Fantastic Four. Oh.
Doesn't that seem surprising to you? I would have thought
then it was what age group for Superman then?
I don't have that pulled up here, but I would assume that it's the same.
The age group for Superman was like maybe older?
So no. I think they're about the same. Thank you. Hold please. Standing on business. Under 12 was 6%.
For Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. 18 to 24 was 27%. 25 to 34 was 28%. And then 35 to 44, which I imagined would be the highest percentage of all of them, being that that's like my age demographic. And it feels like my age demographic are the ones who would have kind of ushered in superheroes a decade ago.
Yeah.
Right? Just 15%.
So they had about equal parts Gen Z and millennial.
Correct.
Right?
And then age 45 to 54 was just 10%, and then 55 plus was just 6%.
I can't make sense of them being able to pull that many Gen Z moviegoers, especially given the fact that they have no money.
I mean, you know, maybe they snuck in. I guess you can't do that if they have that ticket sales. Yeah,
numbers.
They're like, no, we're gonna find out later. There's like an asterisk, and it's like pirated copies.
You know what? Maybe I have been totally off base about Pedro this whole time.
You think he's just that popular?
He actually is the most popular movie star alive today.
I don't think that that's what's going on. But it also doesn't make sense, too, because one thing they were talking about is like Thunderbolts didn't do as well as they wanted to. Neither did Captain America Brave New World. Now they're talking about this movie as if it's going to usher in some brand new era for Marvel. But I don't think that that's possible. I just don't think people care as much as they claim that they used to. I don't.
In like Endgame era, you mean?
They're like, they said Fantastic Four is the first film in Phase 6. I'm like, does anybody even remember what Phase 5 was?
Wait, is it actually
Yes.
officially Phase 6?
Yeah. So what does that even mean? If nobody knows or cares what ended Phase 4 and 5, because it was like Kang, and then Kang got erased, nothing else matters. There's a distinct through line from phases 1 through 3 of post-credit scenes with Thanos leading up to Infinity War and then Endgame. But phase 4 and 5 is just a bunch of slop that nobody cares about. And that's going to continue because I just saw an article over the weekend. I should have shared it. So Rebecca Romaine was asked about if she has any scenes left to film for Avengers Doomsday. And she says, I don't know. They haven't finished writing the script. And the movie has been filming since April.
And it's set to release in, what was it,
Next-
December
yeah,
26th?
Yeah, like next year. That date might have even been moved by
It
now.
was moved from May
Yeah.
26th,
To
and now I
December.
think it's December.
So nobody wants a winter superhero movie anyways, I don't think. Not in the same way.
Wait, so if we're in phase 6 right now, that means it's, once they finish that slate of movies, it's like over? What do
No,
they...
it'll keep going.
What do they do then? Do they just make up a new phase?
New phase.
7?
New phase.
What's 7?
I don't
Like,
know.
they haven't thought ahead that far?
After Doomsday, I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to dream of a world where it just fizzles out and dies.
So Jurassic World, $718 million at the box office already. It's been open since July 2nd, to be fair. So about a month, but it's creeping up towards, I don't know if it's going to make $1 billion. And certainly with inflation, that's not nearly as much as what the Chris Pratt movies did. But people love
Yeah.
Dino Slop.
But let me check, because I don't remember Jurassic World Dominion doing that well.
It made $1 billion. It made like
Really?
1.2 billion. Yeah. You can look it up.
Let me see.
Well, give me the exact number.
Jurassic World Dominion.
It was just a bad movie.
earned-
By everyone's accounts, it was just a bad movie, but it still did like $1 billion.
Okay, the worldwide total for Jurassic World
1.2?
Dominion was just barely $1 billion.
Okay.
Yes. So not 1.2.
Okay. Well, then maybe that might have been one of the other
It
ones.
was just barely over the line for $1 billion worldwide. And it was, okay, North America, 376 million.
I would rather just see cinematic universes end altogether. I see somebody in the chat say that. Adam in the chat says cinematic universes must end altogether.
You don't really think that. You watch all of these franchises.
But I'd rather. I feel like maybe. Perhaps the idea is that people know what to expect with everything. And yes, that's down to the formula these movies use. But maybe if you didn't go into everything knowing that somehow it was all going to tie in together, you might have a little bit more love in your heart for the idea that it could be different this time. Like the best thing about Fantastic Four was that it was in a different timeline than the traditional Marvel timeline, which is why it was so annoying. Thank you. There's another fly. They've come back
Great.
out of the woodwork. Why it was so annoying that they put in Doctor Doom at the end. I'm like, I don't care that it's connected to the rest of Marvel. I don't care what excuse you're going to use for Doctor Doom hopping timelines, hopping universes to come and take Franklin. I just want to see a movie self-contained in its own world, and that's what I liked about it. I don't want to see more movies that are tied together.
Yeah, and or
Or at least I would prefer if they didn't.
From my normie perspective on this, I don't want to have to know any context about a story before going in to understand it.
Yeah, that was another reason to like that movie. And even watching The Penguin, which was connected to the Matt Reeves Batman movie, like you could still watch that and enjoy it even if you hadn't seen like the Batman from 2022. You could still enjoy The Penguin.
Well, I know you disagreed with this, but Tim's take was that you wouldn't be able to understand any of the plot points in Fantastic Four without having the context of reading the comics beforehand.
I'm not a huge...
And you said that that's not true, so I don't know.
That's true. Like, he's like, I need the power from Franklin. I just assumed that meant...
But that just sounds so vague, like I don't understand
There
that.
was a throwaway line that would require you to pay close enough attention where he says, like, he wants to be able to sleep. He wants to be able to stop eating planets. And for that, he needs Franklin. I feel like
Wait, so Franklin can create universes, right?
Franklin has the power of universes, apparently. And like,
He can create them?
I don't know in that context. Again, this is the type of thing where it's like,
All right.
I watched this movie and I'm like, like it was fine. I liked it, but also I'm not heavy on plot. I don't need like the most well-explained plot of all time.
Well, I am, because when I watch these movies, first of all, I'm getting inundated with CGI slop that just doesn't compute to my brain.
Yeah.
And I also find it hard to follow the plot lines that are kind of poorly written and require you to do homework of like hundreds of hours of viewing the TV shows and the prior movies.
Look, I'm not saying that it was the most well-explained plot point in history, but he at least said, like, I want to be able to stop eating planets. For that, I need Franklin. At that point, do I need a thesis on why that is, or is that enough of a reason? Big, giant, planet-eating man wants baby. Family needs to keep baby away from big, giant, planet-eating man.
All right.
Like,
solid.
I'm not watching the Odyssey. I'm not watching some highbrow entertainment. I'm watching cosmic slop. Like, I don't need a deeper explanation than that. Now, maybe I'm the bad guy here.
You're the slop enjoyer.
I'm the slop enjoyer.
Not
but
me.
I don't feel like the explanation. Could it have been better? Sure. But the movie was also under 2 hours. If I can sacrifice like 5 minutes of him explaining that to keep that runtime under 2 hours, I say go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't be capable of enjoying this type of movie anyway. It's not my genre. So
I would, if they were gonna spend any more time on this movie explaining things, I would have rather they had spent more time with Shalabal and her sacrifice to go basically work for Galactus so that her own planet could be saved, which they did in like a 2-second flashback with Johnny Storm. I would have rather they spent more time explaining her story because of her, spoiler alert, sacrifice at the end. It would have added more weight to it. I don't need to know more about why Galactus wants to eat baby. I just need to know that he wants to eat baby.
They should have given up the baby.
It's so funny. That was like an ethics question everybody's having. I was like, yeah, like first of all, he didn't need to tell anybody that he said no. Like, all he has to be like, yeah, the guy was evil. He wanted to just take our planet.
So crazy.
Yeah, like, he doesn't need to explain that to anybody.
But it was in the interest of, like,
full disclosure?
Honesty, yeah.
Well, that's stupid. That was,
no, I mean, I think that the right move would be to give up the baby, to be honest.
Well, it's if this was
the parallel to scripture need not be explained.
I was gonna say, like, so are we supposed to believe that Galactus at the last minute would like stop and be like, "I'm gonna spare your planet because you were willing to sacrifice"?
No, Franklin is Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
In this case, that apparently is true.
Seems like it to me, but I haven't seen it, so
I'm
don't
with
take my word
John. Is it Durham in the chat? At least clone the baby. Yeah, they should have just put like a clone baby.
Mary coming out for child sacrifice. Okay, well, he's gonna sacrifice like countless other, you know, billions or trillions or whatever of people as well. Like, if you're choosing, but it's a basic trolley problem. There's nothing complicated about it.
Every show on television kind of tackles this idea, which is like, should you, like, in your mind, you understand the idea that the needs of many outweigh the needs of one, but that doesn't address the humanity that a person embodies when they're faced with that problem.
I was mostly kidding because I guess if I were put in that situation, I would not give up the baby. Because my answer to the trolley problem has always been that I'm not going to pull the lever to
either.
Yeah, to either option, because doing nothing actually does absolve you of like the guilt for the, you know, the people who end up dying.
I'm just gonna say I'm distracted. I was like, what? I didn't even know that there was a lever.
I didn't even see the lever. I didn't know that there was a trolley.
Feign ignorance.
Yeah.
In the chat, Blue1889 says, "Kill your baby for strangers." Nah, dude.
I didn't actually think that, but I mean, I was just saying that I did see a parallel with, you know, the sacrifice of one's only begotten son.
In the chat, is that Sastra says, "No, Franklin's power is creation based, like Scarlet Witch. Can't wait for Agatha to make her return. She is Franklin's nanny." So here's the thing. That is homework. And if that's true, it's not well explained in the movie. But again, like I said, it was the bare minimum of an explanation. Giant planet-eating man is wants to consume baby for his own reasons. Well, not humans. The Fantastic Four must prevent Galactus from consuming baby.
Okay, but so that confirms that I heard that what I heard was true, that Franklin can create universes.
I don't know. Again, I don't know. That doesn't confirm that.
Whatever.
The point is most people going into it aren't going to know anything about the comics. They're not going to know anything about all of the lore. They're just going to look to see a basic problem solved by superheroes.
Right.
So, all right. Well, again, I don't know if I consider $218 million a strong opening. I think it's actually a bad sign, but week 2 will be more informational when it comes to whether this is going to do well or not. Because if the hold is good, if it stays in the low 50s or lower for box office hold, then that could spell out much, much better news for them. All right, let's move on.
A TikToker who bears a striking resemblance to Chappell Roan has recently gone viral while she was complaining about how men don't approach her or hit on her or even catcall her in public. And I think this has been a recurring subject on this show for the past couple of weeks in particular. I've seen a lot of content of women complaining about how men are not showing them enough attention. And a lot of the discourse is just about, you know, what caused this, and men saying this is to blame for the Me Too movement, and society caused this problem, and now you can deal with the consequences, ladies. You know, you shamed men out of showing interest in women in public, and now this is what happens. So this was her video.
Here we go.
Tell me why every day I go out looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Ever. Oh my God, like, please. I'll take a fucking construction worker catcall at this point. Please.
She's too good at talking to a camera.
So
She enunciates phrases. It just says that she spends all her time talking to her phone, posting TikToks.
even after catcalling was one of the favorite pet issues of pop feminism in the 2010s, for years, women were scaremongering about catcalling and how this is a tactic of fear that is weaponized against women by men who are trying to, you know, impose a power dynamic on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've done the full horseshoe, and we're right back at catcalling is not only okay, but preferable.
Wait, so women were saying that catcalling was a tactic of fear to keep them in line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I even posted one of the original PSA videos that was made by a feminist about catcalling in New York City.
I think we talked about that at one point.
We did, like a matter of months ago. And now it isn't a fear tactic anymore. It's not a tool of oppression or the patriarchy anymore. And now we want that.
Yep.
My question about it was just that, you know, do the men catcalling women think that they're going to have a high success rate with that? Because it's clearly never going to lead to a woman like giving you her number. It's like
what's the joke? It's like a dog chasing cars. They wouldn't know what to do if they got it. Yeah. So it's like you catcall, and then she says, "Oh, can I get your number?" And then he's like, "What?"
Well, aside from the question of catcalling, we are in a drought for meet cutes these days, and there's no one even starting a conversation with a stranger in public now. Brian Atlas of the Whatever podcast posted this video saying, "A lot of women told us not to approach in public or we would be called a creep. Society told us to stop." So would you agree with that perspective?
Yeah, I would. I think once it makes it to Gillette ads, and guys are, was it Gillette?
It was a Gillette
where the
ad.
guy goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah, like the white guy is like catcalling the woman, and then the black guy like stops him from following her or something.
When it reaches that level of and plus television shows have been doing this for decades, where, you know, Wolf Whistle girl gets catcalled on the street, and those men were generally portrayed as creeps, right? I would say that, I think society told them to stop a long time ago, and it just took forever to catch up.
When did we lose the ability to distinguish between a friendly conversation starting between strangers and screaming at a woman like "nice ass"? Like, there are obvious distinctions there and degrees to this. Like, yelling something obscene at a woman in public is not the same thing as like saying hello and introducing yourself in a culturally accepted context. I guess we don't have those contexts anymore, and you actually sent this list.
Yes, well, there's a lot
all
of places
of the places where women have specified men should not approach them.
Well, you know what this is kind of the consequence of? It's the consequence of a few really specific examples getting shared by a bunch of people.
In order to help women understand why men aren't approaching them, I compiled a list of places women said it's not okay to approach them. Here it is. At work, at church, out in public, literally anywhere in public, at malls, coffee shops, libraries, public parks, at restaurants, at retail stores, on buses, public transportation, sidewalks, work-related events, parking lots, at co-working spaces, grocery stores, while she is at her car, in a pub/bar.
Okay.
And that's probably not even an exhaustive list of examples that you could mine from TikTok or Twitter or Instagram, where women primarily complain about these things.
Yep.
But like, I feel like a normal chauvinistic attitude that used to be commonplace in society was that, you know, women feign disinterest and also don't know what they want. That's kind of the whole reason why Baby It's Cold Outside is such a beloved song, because, you know, women say no performatively sometimes.
But we can't operate under
as
that.
a mating practice.
But we're like, gone are the days where I feel like that was kind of accompanied by in a time period where women were literally thought of as less than men.
I don't think that women were ever thought of as less than men. I think that's a common misconception.
Okay. There is, in today's day and age, you're going to take her at her word and you're going to just accept what she's saying as what she believes, and not like, oh, maybe she hasn't thought this through. And they're definitely not going to say something like, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she wants. If a guy doesn't know her, it's not his job to make that assumption about her. He's going to take her first comments, which are go away, and they're going to go away. And that's what people have done.
Yeah, but I just think if you're a man who like wants to be single, go for it, I guess. But if you don't want to be single, this is actually kind of a golden age for rising up to the top, you know? Like, this is a time where having just a tiny fraction of suave will make you an extremely desirable prospect to women.
I suppose,
and this
maybe.
was a comment offered by a couple of different men around this specific video. One man commented, rather than complain about the situation, consider that there has never been a time in history where having even a little bit of agency and confidence would put you in the top 5% of the dating pool. Look at this as an opportunity. And another man commented saying, the truth is a lot of guys are naturally timid and secretly grateful that approaching women has been stigmatized because it gave them a righteous sounding excuse for their own cowardice.
Yeah, I mean, like, television has been telling them that no means no for a long time, and feminism has been telling them that no means no for a long time, and I don't know what the good examples are that have been shared with guys, like, you know, younger guys, right? Like, where no actually means yes, because we see the videos where they're like, I said no, but like, what are they supposed to be like? Is he supposed to keep trying? Because that's not acceptable by today's standards.
Supposed to, like, meaning
like I don't understand what the guys are supposed to do in this situation. Like, everything in society is telling them to not approach women in these specific situations. I don't even know what the situations are where they are. I guess it's dating apps and that's it.
Well, I mean, that's the sad thing, is because people use dating apps. They hate dating apps, but they use them anyway. And it's because it takes any risk and any emotional investment in dating completely out of the equation. And that's why people hate them so much, but it's also the reason why they're being used. So no one is happy with this situation. I'm just saying, if you're unhappy with the state of things, it's probably a better bet to try things the old-fashioned way, and that doesn't mean screaming obscenities at a woman. It just means,
well, okay, so that's only one part of her.
You can start a conversation with someone of the opposite sex in public.
That was only one part of what she said. She also said, like, nobody, like, she wasn't just referring specifically to catcalling. But here's the thing: like, if she's in public walking and looking at her phone, who the hell's approaching her?
Well, I doubt that she's like nonstop recording TikToks when she's out in public.
I just can't
this is like
imagine
20 seconds of her life.
I can't imagine a world now where that would be a return to course. Like, we don't live in that world anymore. We don't even live in that world anymore in regards to friendship. where you just walk up to somebody and start a conversation.
No.
So it's going to happen even less in dating because there's a lot less chance of somebody like eschewing you. Like,
but I feel like men are oftentimes more worried about being rejected than they're worried about literally like the risk of
it's
reputational destruction.
I don't necessarily believe that it's about that part. I think it's about the general social idea that it's no longer acceptable, meaning that they're not thinking about it in the terms of like, this lady's going to specifically start filming me, naming and shaming, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's that they want to fall in line with what social norms are. And every aspect of society from women has told them that this is no longer acceptable. And they're not going to operate under the general premise that women might not know what they want, because very few people have that level of confidence in their own.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't think that that's any specific person's fault. I think society has done very well to castrate men, you know, philosophically speaking, to make men timid, to show them examples of men being bad, to tell them that what is appropriate for men these days is to not do anything near women unless you're Pedro Pascal and you have anxiety.
Yeah.
But in general, nothing about society tells men to be bold or to be brave. It's discouraged. And a couple examples of women being like, oh crap, I was wrong, isn't going to change the overall social conditioning that took 25, 30 years
Probably
to impart on
longer.
people, probably longer. It's kind of everyone's fault together. It's the feminists' fault. It's the men's fault for not fighting back. But I would put most of this at the feet of feminism.
Right. It's not even just figuratively castrating men, but in a real way, physically castrating them, be it by the LGBT lobby or just the fact that testosterone has actually plummeted in the absolute numbers in young men. Like, young men today have levels of testosterone comparable to elderly males.
I also think, and I can't, like, this is just of my own volition, a thought that I've had, which is like, a lot of it has to do with the fact that everything you do now is recorded. And I don't mean this in the context of like, she's going to start filming you right then. It's that you used to be able to say something. I was watching a bunch of the tributes to Hulk Hogan, and they were talking about somebody, like a good friend of his, who 2 days before he died said, no, he's doing well, he's doing better than we could have expected. And then he died 2 days later, and he had to delete that because that clearly wasn't true. Everything is a form of recording now.
Yeah.
And that causes people, even if not in the moment, to second guess what they're going to do for fear that maybe it won't be recorded, but maybe somebody will then tell some horror story later about their interaction. And no, they might not name them. They might not even know it was them specifically, but he's going to know it. And just that fear of him being an example given, because these things were never shared to large swaths of people. When women had bad dates or they were approached in public by men who were disrespectful to them, that's something they bitched about to their girlfriends over wine on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Not 10,000 people in your follower count.
Yes.
And all of this stuff has it's neutered men's ability to operate confidently. And it's kind of poisoned women against the idea that there are men out there who may approach them in like a polite way.
Yeah, and I actually, before the show, shared an example of that with you. I was at a coffee shop.
Yes, yeah.
And this guy I recognized from church, he was also there. I guess that we both like frequented this coffee shop after mass, but never met, never like introduced ourselves. And it was like a Lifetime movie or something. He like came up to me and he was like, hey, so I got the wrong cappuccino. They gave me like caffeinated instead of decaf. So, I mean, would you like to have it instead?
The way you could tell for sure is if you find out later that the other one he got was also caffeinated.
Right.
Then
That
it
would
was
be
a
the
ploy, because he's like,
Yeah.
because let's be real, what guy drinks decaf after
I know. I was
church?
like, decaf?
That was the
Okay,
real
that's
one.
kinda
You're
sus.
like, sorry, bro,
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
meat
crazy.
cuting with a decaf guy. I'm
Never,
sorry, I can't do that.
never. You couldn't catch
Couldn't
me
be
dead.
me.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. And I accepted the coffee from him. He got his coffee, and you know, that was that. That was literally the entire interaction. And I mean, a lot of people would
He's
say,
back to the drawing board
he
at
was
home.
clearly making some sort of gesture. He was clearly trying to hit on you or express interest in you. A lot of people would interpret it that way. But I have no reason to think that because there was no follow-up. There was no, you know, I don't know, like, I've seen you at church before. I never introduced myself. My name is Duh.
Yeah,
like,
if this was a
there was nothing like that.
If this was a television show, he would have had a very suave secondary statement that got him in the door of sitting down next to you.
Right, like, not like it would have worked anyway.
Oh,
but
Pastor so-and-so had a good one today, huh? And then now you're sitting there and you're like, how the hell did he get to sitting down?
right.
And before long, you're chatting, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's the context right there. If you're in an age where you can go to a drive-through and get your coffee, if you're at a coffee shop and you're sitting in one, especially if you're not looking at your phone in a coffee shop, the signal is you are open to social interaction with strangers.
Yeah.
And that is an extremely acceptable context to start a conversation with someone. And if you're interested in a woman that you find attractive, like, that's an acceptable place.
This is the guy's version.
say hello.
This is the more polite version of stealing their salad. You have
Exactly.
you have to buy a second coffee.
No, I mean, I genuinely believe that it was an actual mistake and he was just trying to be nice.
All right. Let's move on. We got more to discuss.
Okay. So I want to know if you feel seen, heard, and validated and represented by the media you watch, if you fit into a certain micro minority group, because apparently a lot of people feel Hollywood still hasn't done enough in terms of representation. After all of these years of checking boxes, they just have not done enough work. And I saw this viral tweet asking, question for whoever sees, they're needing to specify people who aren't blind, by the way. Are there any aspects of yourself that you feel have never been properly represented in media? Doesn't matter what it is, just a trait of yourself that you have never seen. And the replies were so unhinged. It's actually just, it sent me. I didn't know people like this still existed.
They didn't go anywhere just because, look, I mean, to be fair, if you went to Blue Sky, you'd probably find more of them.
Yeah, these are Blue Sky people who somehow wandered onto X.
That's going to be the new slur. You're a Blue Sky.
Yeah. So
Continue.
Here was the first one. Maladaptive daydreaming. Every time a character is a daydreamer, it's portrayed as something positive and cute. I would like to see something where they explore how unhealthy and damaging it can be.
Okay. I'm guessing that with most of these, the problem is none of it makes for actual fun storytelling.
No, it's just solipsistic garbage.
Yeah.
I just want to see, like, my quirky traits in a movie or a TV show just so that I can feel important. Like, that's what they're all saying. Another one, maybe picky eaters who aren't little kids. There are a lot of teens and young adults with ARFID. While I was never diagnosed, I grew up with intense anxiety around trying new food. It affected my social life, and I often felt very misunderstood. Now, if you're not familiar with ARFID is a trendy new eating disorder that you can find a lot of TikTok content about. It's called Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, and it literally means, like, every person who claims to have ARFID is most often morbidly obese, and they refuse to eat anything other than, like, MSG seed oil slop from fast food restaurants. That's pretty much it.
Oh
like,
my God.
Their eating disorder is that they refuse to eat anything other than, like, chicken nuggets.
So, okay. So I am a very picky eater.
You are.
I'm a very
Do you have
picky eater.
ARFID?
I don't have ARFID.
Are you a sufferer of ARFID?
And
It sounds like the sound of, like, puking. It sounds like a dad's sneeze.
It's what happens when an
what
happens when an aardvark throws up.
It's the sound of a dad sneeze. ARFID.
Yeah. So I am a very, very, very picky eater. I probably eat the same 3 to 4 things all the time.
Yeah.
Olivia can attest because that's what I have for dinner. And you know what? It would be extremely stupid and boring in a story. I guess you could. The other thing that I think that they probably don't understand is, like, because it matters so much to them, they think it needs to be front and center. Where something like this would never be front and center for a character. It would be something secondary that's just kind of thrown in there to, round out the character's traits. So there's nothing interesting about this. And you know what? That's okay. Your ARFID doesn't need to be represented on screen.
Another user said, I have never seen anything representative of the positive aspects of borderline personality disorder. It's not all negative. And when asked for an example of what's so positive about having a personality disorder, they said, it essentially makes you feel everything intensely. It can make good moments feel more wonderful than they otherwise would.
Oh, boy.
You're not quirky. You're not a manic pixie dream girl because you have borderline personality disorder. You're insufferable to everyone around you. Grow up.
A huge part of current year society is that everything is about finding that thing about yourself that sets you apart from everybody else. The problem is everybody's using the same things to set themselves apart from everybody else, which is why you see so much of what we heard in the ARFID one, which is like, I was never diagnosed, but the human beings are just a spectrum of personality types and traits. And you're like, I actually had like a very long post that I think I ended up not posting, which was like, you're not special and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not special, and that's okay. There's very little in the way that sets me apart from the average everyday person. I probably have all of the same positives and negatives as anybody else. I get anxiety around people, probably about as much as most people get anxiety around other people. Not a huge fan of being in groups. Guess what? Lots of other people are like that too. It's not quirky. It's not funny. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not interesting. There's nothing unique about it. There is actual power in accepting that you're not special.
Well,
we are not special.
What does...
All the lot of us. Not special.
I mean, here's the thing. My view is everyone is unique and special in some way, but you don't need to assert that to the world. And what makes you unique or special is either something that you excel at, like a talent or skill that you have built over time, or it's the way that you treat other people that leaves an impression on them.
Well, nobody wants to do that one anymore because everybody's a dick.
And but all of these traits are just like, here's something that's like wrong with me that I identify with. Another one is selective mutism. There is a lot of characters that don't talk, but I don't know of any who have been confirmed to not be able to speak because of selective mutism.
Does that mean that they just choose not to talk?
I remember the Kristen Stewart movie, right? Wasn't it called Speak?
I don't know.
She was
selectively mute. Selective mutism means that they choose not to talk?
I don't know. The lines are blurred.
It was like that one. Remember that that Instagram reel about the girl who was like selective wheelchair use or whatever.
Oh yeah, optional
wheelchair use or whatever.
Yep. Another one said, what was this next one? Oh, being a white Latino. Okay. Another one said OCD is so wrongly portrayed. While there are people who do have stereotypical symptoms shown in media, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Another one regarding OCD said they have rarely gotten to see OCD represented well, and I have yet to see OCD in any other light than you care too much about things being clean, how quirky, and it's made fun of or simply grown out of.
You and I, in the cosmic grand scheme of things, will eventually disappear into the ether. You know, I'm speaking to you, the audience.
This is crazy. Borderline personality disorder, like, bro, we weren't born crazy. We're traumatized human beings that just feel things on a deeper scale than the average person.
That's the most narcissistic thing you can possibly say.
Why do we get written as the worst people to ever grace the earth in movies and TV shows? If you know anyone in your life that is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, you know how bullshit that is. Like, they actually are insufferable to be around.
Look.
Another one said, I'd love to see more representation of the effects of helicopter neglect, parents being so overbearing and doing everything for their children that they don't know how to complete basic tasks.
Well, people have that conversation all the time. I don't even know what.
Another one that was genuinely insane. Assertiveness in women. Not the inauthentic girl boss kind, but a real enforcement of boundaries in an emotionally intelligent but firm way coming from a woman.
That's just not interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely a shortage of assertive female characters in media today.
That's just not interesting. Like what she just described is ridiculous. Or I guess that could have been a guy. Whoever just described that it just sounds boring. Like nobody watches movies for like polite assertiveness.
That's not interesting. This was also listed as a deformity that needs more representation. I never see cleft palates represented in media. The closest I've seen is cleft lip in people's OCs, but rarely and never on big media. So they want to see people with cleft lips.
You know, they try to stay away from it. That show Beauty and the Beast, where this guy has the most perfectly placed scar to not damage his attractiveness. They even got rid of that in season 2 by just hand waving it away with storytelling. They're like, oh, it's gone now, because they didn't want to sit there and do the makeup.
Well, they're like, gee, why are people that are on screen for a living better looking?
Also, if they do the cleft palate story, then there's going to be arguments because they're going to put Leonardo DiCaprio with a cleft palate, and they'll be like, "Why isn't it a person with an actual cleft palate?" They'll be like, "Well, you know, there are no actors with a cleft palate with, you know, enough star power." I think the only actor that I can think of that has something like that is Johnny Whitworth, who was in Blind Spot, and he was like an extra, or he was like a secondary character in old seasons of CSI Miami. But look up Johnny Whitworth, and he's got like, it's like the remnants of a cleft palate on his upper lip in the most like unbothersome way you've ever seen. Like it does not take away from what he looks like, but it's there.
Another one was trichotillomania and dermatillomania. Hyper hair pulling and skin picking disorders, never properly represented in media because it's never in media to begin with. I want to see it talked about and acknowledged beyond Facebook support groups. Fuck off.
Yeah, just no.
This person also has their Blue Sky handle in bio. Another one is DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder.
Watch the, if you want to see a problematic, hilarious version of that, watch the Criminal Minds episode about dissociative identity disorder.
I will never entertain the moral grandstanding around the movie Split. It was so stupid how people pretended to be like offended by that. Oh, this is another one. IBS. It's socially considered a funny disorder at this point. And I don't think anyone realizes it comes with incurable, lifelong, daily bouts of agonizing pain without treatment. Plus, it's really hard to get doctors to take you seriously about abdominal pain. Yeah, we need protagonists in movies and TV shows to uncontrollably shit their pants. So that you can feel better about yourself.
That's what they should have done.
Are you fucking serious?
That's what they should have done with Reed Richards. If they really wanted to humanize Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four, they would have given him IBS.
Wow.
Listen, I think you get it.
Okay, this was my favorite one, though. Just to end with.
Yeah.
I've never seen a man like myself represented in media. Handsome, aggressive, and with a lot of money.
Yeah, it's never been done before. Guys, just remember that in the grand scheme of things, none of us actually matter, and all of your most individualistic quirks and eccentricities will only matter to the people in your life that actually love you. That doesn't make it interesting enough to tell a story about it on the big screen, so you should focus inwards and the people in your life that actually care about you, rather than wondering if your IBS is interesting enough to make a movie about.
I want Captain Marvel to have IBS.
Exactly. All right. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cute first.
Cute first. Okay. Let me see here. All right. This one is from Curtis. He says, my niece and nephew are dog sitting this handsome gentleman, Aldo. Olive provided for scale. So
I can't tell.
Hold on. Oh!
Whoa. I'm scared of big dogs.
That one's like, holy crap. And that one's like, hello.
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 I would be terrified.
All right. All right. What is the cringe for today?
This is a deep cut. I think you just have to experience it to understand.
Here we go, guys. Cringe of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Ever Go down and join the military. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to joke you. I will not joke you. It's going to be hard. It's going to be the roughest.
I played a little bit. I played a little bit of Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah, that's fake shit. Don't listen. That's bullshit. All right, that's
Really?
fake. Yeah, it's fake bullshit. It's going to be the worst 6 months of your life, but you're going to come out on the other end a hero to your mom.
You think so?
I know so.
Okay, I will.
A hero to your mom.
I'll join the army. I don't care.
Where's BG Cumby?
That's what you need. That's what you need. That's what you will feel American to your core, and you will have your mom's love forever. You already have it always, but she is so worried about you right now, what you're going to do. You're a 30-year-old man, that has no prospects.
You're right.
Do yourself a favor. Go down and join the military.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. I'm not going to joke you. I will not joke you. It's going to be hard. It's going to be
that was
rough.
the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got to go down and join the military.
I just love the part where he's like, I will. I'll do it.
I wonder if we could get BG Cumby to join the military.
Does he have BG Cumby vibes?
Kind of.
That kid?
In a little bit. In a different.
I guess he's not a kid. I guess he's 30 years old with
30
no
years old.
prospects.
He played some, like, little did he know what he said is like, I played some Warzone while backpacking 5 miles at a time with 30 pounds on my back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Let's get started.
All right. I expected the uproar over Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad campaign to largely die down over the weekend, but the opposite happened, and we've actually unveiled a whole new layer of the controversy. One particular clip from American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney's collab with them has gotten a lot of attention and is now being accused of spreading eugenicist, racist propaganda. And that is because, I don't know if this even needs to be explained to you guys, but some people weren't aware. They played on the double entendre of Sydney Sweeney's jeans, the pants, and Sydney Sweeney's jeans in her DNA with a G instead of a J. So that was like the really clever wordplay that they employed here in the ad campaign. And this particular script that they wrote for Sydney Sweeney sent a lot of people into a tailspin. And it's also a reference to Brooke Shields' Calvin Klein commercial, which we'll talk about in a minute, but let's just watch this one.
Here we go.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
So that was it. And they're, of course, referencing the fact that Sydney Sweeney has blue eyes.
Yes.
In that line. So the reaction to this particular clip from the ad campaign was apoplectic. A lot of people saying that this is literally Hitler. What the F? I didn't expect this from them. Why would they take this direction? I'm scared that like now the right wing is headed in the direction of like sterilizing people who don't have blonde hair and blue eyes, and
ironic coming from
they
the side
jumped
that
to
likes
a lot of conclusions.
Ironic coming from the side that likes to kill babies and tell people that they should just not they should abort kids if they have specific gene mutations. But
yeah, like interesting for people from the party of Planned Parenthood to be talking about eugenicists.
Margaret Sanger could never.
Yeah.
This was the tweet that set all of this off from Evan Loves Wharf. He said, "Did they mean to include a bunch of Nazi dog whistles in this one?"
Yeah, that was the
big
sentiment
one.
from the left. And then there was another TikToker who responded. We'll show that example here.
Yes.
We can't show them all, but this one was particularly, it kind of encapsulates all of it with, you know, the inclusive trans gay flag in the background and everything.
I can't, but the bull ring being like off center is
oh, that always peeves me. Yeah.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
So what? I mean, are we just gonna all collectively pretend that they're not talking about her tits?
Yeah, that's what they're looking to do. If you're looking to get as much engagement on social media as possible, that's what we'll do.
I mean, they did reference her eye color. I get it. Okay, not gonna deny that part, but like clearly the rest of the ad campaign was written based on innuendo jokes about her breasts.
Yes.
Which, regardless of how you feel about it, is not Nazi propaganda.
It's also funny too, because she's actually one of the more lopsided. Like, her face isn't isn't as symmetrical as some of the other celebrities of her class, right? She has a unique look about her.
I would say it's symmetrical, but she has a unique look. She looks reminiscent of like Shelley Duvall almost.
Okay.
Because she has these eyes that are like very downturned and wide, and she also has like, when her mouth is resting, you can like see her teeth, sort of. She has like these bunny teeth. She definitely has been like, I would say like that's why she first got a lot of roles in like prestige drama television, because she has a unique.
She has an interesting face.
Look, she's not generic looking in any way, but yeah. So let's just park that aside. Like, I don't think anyone here with a working brain believes that this is pro-white propaganda, intentional or not. But what it was...
No, it's a Rorschach test to say, ask what's on your brain.
What it was, though, undeniably, like without question, is a reference to the 1980 Calvin Klein ad campaign that Brooke Shields filmed when she was 15 years old. And I was not aware of this, but some of you were commenting about it when we covered the ad campaign that Sydney Sweeney did last week, and I went and looked it up. This is the commercial for anyone who hasn't seen it or hasn't seen it in a while.
Okay, here we go.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein genes.
Okay.
And then there was also the tagline that she delivered at the time, what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing. And that was interpreted as an innuendo about her not wearing underwear, which she claims nowadays that she was totally naive and unaware of at the time, and she didn't think that they intended it that way at all. It was very controversial when it came out, and it also raised their sales by like 300% or something crazy like that.
I bet you that took like 90 takes to get right.
It did. Yeah, she talked about that as well. But yeah, she was 15 in that ad, and that's just like scratching the surface of how messed up her childhood was as a child actor. But, you know, what I find more disturbing about that Sydney Sweeney script is than the, you know, stupid like racism scandal, which is totally made up, is the fact that they would invoke the Calvin Klein ad. I find that more questionable than any of the bogus allegations of like fascism or racism. I think that it's deserving of backlash that they would invoke the script from this commercial that obviously sexualizes a child. And if you were listening rather than watching, she's like, you know, first off, not wearing pants and then like contorting herself and doing all these different poses on camera. And, you know, then I looked into more about Brooke Shields' career, starting when she was extremely terrifyingly young. Some of you may be aware that she was photographed naked and covered in oil for Playboy when she was 10 years old. And she even, as a teenager, tried to take legal action to stop the sale of those photos and was unsuccessful.
Yep.
Because she was obviously, upon hindsight, very uncomfortable with it. And then also she filmed Pretty Baby when she was 11 years old, and that came out in 1978. There are also multiple scenes in that movie where she is fully nude and everything showing. And she's playing a child prostitute, and also filmed scenes where she is like kissing and touching adult men. And this is all, of course, with the approval of her stage mom that she defended for years, who also approved the Calvin Klein ad for the same reasons. And, you know, I watched a bunch of these old interviews with Brooke Shields where she was just getting like constantly questioned about her sexuality by adults when she was still a kid. And they were asking her about her virginity. And, you know, there was even a write-up about her when she was 13 after Pretty Baby came out. Calling her a sultry mix of all-American virgin and whore, a 13-year-old girl. And like at the time, from what I've been able to gather through researching this, there was sort of a cultural swing to normalize and make acceptable pedophilia, basically. And then through the 80s and 90s, then it swung back. And then you could argue maybe that in the 2010s and like onward, we've seen a lot of normalizing sexualizing kids from like the LGBT lobby and other places. But like, I don't, to bring it back to the Sydney Sweeney ad, I don't think it's okay that I don't think they should get away with invoking the Brooke Shields ad as a cultural reference, given the context that we know about it now. That was a bad choice on their part, and I don't think that it's getting enough attention. It's almost like the racism aspect of the backlash is getting amplified, and then this aspect of it isn't getting enough attention at all.
I mean, nobody's going to make that connection. Like, no, like unless you're doing deep dives into this stuff, people aren't going to make that connection. And Sydney Sweeney's how old? 30? Like
Sydney Sweeney's 27, but referencing the script said by a 15-year-old.
I understand. I'm just saying I don't think that there's going to be no backlash because nobody's going to remember it.
Right.
Like what you're seeing with people talking about this, it's like this one that I laughed at this. Let's see if I can said they said this lady said that they need to pull the ads now because they're scary, and said sexualizing the F out of her and hinting at narcissism. I'm scared, man. The point being that she's a 27-year-old, so nobody's going to split hairs about them sexualizing her because that's only a cultural weapon when they want it to be. They're fine with people being sexualized on their terms. They're just not fine with it when it's, I guess, attractive, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people. And that's where the focus is these days. It's on race. It's not on this other issue. And I think that the ad is a callback that's so far in the past and so niche that most people just don't remember or don't know.
Yeah, I know that, you know, the racism aspect of it is inevitably going to get more
I guess
attention.
like I get it, but it's like because the woman in the ad now is of age, like people aren't going to have the same qualms because they're going to say, well, okay, that was 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago?
1980.
Okay, so
ancient history
but
now.
Sydney Sweeney is nothing if not an adult, so they're not going to carry the same water for that as they are the mystic or like the mysterious racism that isn't actually there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if the backlash to this were coming from any honest place, it would be about the Brooke Shields reference and not about, you know, racism or anything else that people are talking about. And you know what else? Also, just from a brand perspective, like if I were a consultant for Sydney Sweeney's brand image, I would say she would make a bigger impact and also not face the backlash for a smaller paycheck if she did a sponsorship with Los Angeles Apparel, which is the new version of Dove Charney's American Apparel, which is trendy right now among Gen Z because they're like romanticizing the millennial indie sleaze era. And like that was always the style of how they photographed their models in American Apparel. Like it was intentionally pervy, and they could do, you know, the Meet Sydney Sweeney billboard ads that they always did with all their models. That would have gone over really well.
I think she wants to be as mainstream as possible. And I think that that's, however mainstream that is, that's not as mainstream as the amount of malls that have American Eagle in them.
I'm just saying, like, if you cared about the public response or the online response, like, I think if she did a brand deal with Los Angeles Apparel, it would have gone over much better.
Yeah. I think that, like I said, I think that something like this really is sort of a political Rorschach test. It tells you where your brain is these days. Like, what is the focus of your life? And for a lot of people, their focus is on white supremacy. So they
White supremacy.
So they see it everywhere.
I also have a criticism of the way they designed these sets. It's just so dreadfully beige. Like, everything just has to be so lifeless beige.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. So this evokes to me closer to like that mid-2000s Canadian blue and green that I love from all their television shows, because it's so not the blue and orange or the blue and yellow that we see in everything else. I'm okay with it. It's also very, there's not a lot of contrast there, which makes sense. That's the style of that advertising. But all that stuff was probably done in one day on a soundstage, and that's what you get.
This is the only like blue background that I'd even seen from it. The rest is just beige, everything beige, beige, beige. And I learned that there is allegedly an Operation Beige being weaponized on the public by corporations. And it's an acronym. Ready?
Yep.
Boring and engineered to identify with gentrification and eugenics. And they are saying that the Sydney Sweeney campaign is exemplifying the last E in Operation Beige, which is
eugenics,
which is using her face.
She's not even a real blonde.
A propaganda tool.
She's not
for
even
eugenics.
a real blonde. She's a fake blonde,
Isn't
right?
she?
I see roots
I'm pretty
showing.
sure she is.
There are roots showing.
Well,
here.
she has highlights, but I think that she's just a dirty blonde. She has highlights, though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah,
here's the thing. What, like this ad or not, what's important is that they don't apologize and they don't say sorry, because we're going to get lots of ad campaigns in our lifetime. But what we need to get away from is the constant apologizing for ad campaigns and things that make you money, because their stock price shot up and they made a lot of money off something like this. They needn't say sorry. They need to just go forward with their ad campaign.
Well, that was my next question. Do you think that they will?
Apologize? No. I think if this was 4 years ago, probably. Nah, but I don't think this ad campaign would have been made 4 years ago.
True. Both of those things are true. I don't know what to expect anymore.
In the chat, they're saying, shut up, Brett. She's perfect. Well, okay, I didn't say she wasn't perfect for you. I said she's not a real blonde.
Some simps.
That's okay.
Energy.
That's okay. Everybody's always arguing about whether she's mid or not, or whether Margot Robbie's mid or not. Feel free to argue amongst yourselves.
Yeah, and, the question of whether Sydney Sweeney is mid is immaterial to all of you, because you're never going to date her.
There's the comments are literally, they think it's racist to make ads about blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people.
Well, I guess they wouldn't have cared as long as they didn't use gene, like the word jeans in the ads. Like, it would be fine otherwise. She's done other brand deals that weren't as controversial. We never ended up talking about those brand deals
because they weren't controversial.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Shani Twilder said, "Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. I'm flying right now. No Wetzels. In-flight Wi-Fi, Zin, and seltzer water. This is the way." Yes. Just pure nicotine and the air conditioning hitting your face. You need nothing more than that. Not a Pwetzel in sight. Good job. Greg Duvier said Shane is on a plane and got Pwetzels for Mary. He did not. Don't defame him like this. The Manic Mustache said, punctual for once, but apropos to the invasion of personal space, Pedro Pascal is like that slow kid in the family. He knows he ain't that tarded, but he is going to go as far as you let him. Stay toxic, my friends.
Oh.
He just really likes hugs, you know?
Let's I'm gonna do a Rumble rant and then we'll move on.
Okay.
New Nova says, as a self-proclaimed dino slop expert, Rebirth was a firm 6 out of 10 on the dino scale. Classic Jurassic Park reigns supreme at 9 out of 10, leaving room for a potential honest adaptation of the book.
So there's a separate dino scale.
There's a separate scale for dinosaur movies. Well, everybody knows that Velocipaster is the gold standard when it comes to movies that feature dinosaurs in them.
What about that? Wasn't there like a horror movie about Barney in the works? Whatever happened to that? No, it's actually like a movie
With
that,
like Io Edebiri.
Io Edebiri
yeah.
is like making a Barney movie.
I think it was about like the history of the character. Boring.
That is the most boring shit I've ever heard of.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back. Let's move on.
Okay. So last month it was announced that longtime editor-in-chief for Vogue, Anna Wintour, stepped down. She is still going to keep a creative role at Vogue, and her replacement is still an ongoing debate. It hasn't been announced who is going to be in charge yet, but whoever it is must have signed off on Vogue featuring artificially generated models in their magazine for the very first time in a recent August issue, an ad for Guess. There were 2 models, one brunette and one blonde, that were in fact AI generated, and there is a lot of backlash to this decision right now. I mean, I'm left to assume Anna Wintour actually personally approved of this because she was in charge of the magazine still when they were putting this together.
This, do we want to watch this video here?
Yeah, this is someone recorded the inside of this issue. There's the AI model for Guess, and they are perfectly nondescript.
They are literally just like an amalgamation of traits that equal out to nothing.
Every Instagram model put together and then put into a blender.
I mean, if you have you ever seen like those videos? It's like it shows you like meteorologists around the world. It just looks like one of the meteorologists from another country.
I also should mention, like, if you look closer at the image of the woman wearing the striped dress, her hand that's on her hip is extremely elongated, and that is noticeably uncanny valley, but the rest of it maybe most people wouldn't clock. However, if you look in the small text on the side of the image, it says produced by Seraphine Valora on AI. And this is getting a lot of attention right now. Seraphine Valora is a brand that's now taken credit for the AI images. And they have generated a ton of AI models before. They said that they got a DM from the Guess CEO where they were like requesting this AI generated ad campaign. The women behind this business are Valentina Gonzalez and Andrea Petrasiu. I don't know if I said that right. They started making AI models because they were trying to create a jewelry brand and couldn't afford the real thing. They recalled, with us being designers and architects, we decided to use our skills to create our own models. We started to put our jewelry that we were trying to sell into these AI models and campaigns. Essentially, other people saw this, it was a success, and they asked if we could do the same for them. They saw a huge gap in the market for a design-led AI image company. We started going viral because nobody was doing it at the time, and that's how we grew our account organically. And for the last 2 years, the company now comprises of 5 people. Then Paul Marciano, the co-founder of Guess, sent them a message. He decided that he liked it and wanted this for one of their own ads, and eventually many other companies will do the same thing. Yeah. So yeah, they took 2 particular AI generated images and then got those approved and worked on them further. That ended up in print. This is a bad thing, but kind of no matter how you swing it. And it's kind of leading me to believe the rumors that Jeff Bezos is on the verge of buying out Vogue. or rather the parent company, Condé Nast.
That, yeah.
Yeah, and people originally started that rumor because he allegedly bought his now wife, Lauren Sanchez, the Vogue cover last month for their wedding as a sort of
his wedding gift is
a wedding gift.
What if his wedding gift is to just buy her Vogue?
Maybe that's, yeah, like a lot of people have been saying, like maybe Jeff Bezos is buying Vogue as a wedding gift to Lauren Sanchez, though that is not confirmed yet. If that happens, it's going to be more of a landfill than it already was under prior leadership. Anna Wintour basically ran it into the ground, and it, like, every cover was just, you know, a random celebrity on a sound stage and nothing interesting about it. And then they obviously filled the pages with tons of political and feminist propaganda, and it became not about fashion but about messaging. And the message in this is, you're a thing of the past. Like, bye-bye humans, you don't matter anymore. We don't need you anymore, and we also don't even need to respond to how you feel about your replacement, because, you know, we don't need you, and this is a self-sustaining enterprise.
It is fair to point out that between plastic surgery and the most extreme levels of airbrushing, the human eye has been programmed and readied for this for a very long time.
Definitely.
There are people like professional models that you can see online now that don't look all that different from this fake person.
Right.
And you kind of, that was always going to happen as technology advanced and as inflation rose, at least especially here in America. All of these companies were going to be looking for the next cheap solution. Plus, you don't have to hire a photographer. You don't have to hire a set designer. You don't have to hire a special on-site HR person to make sure that everything goes according to plan. You hire one sweaty guy in a studio or in an office building to go ahead and build this for you.
Yeah, all legal liability has been eliminated. If
Risk,
this takes over.
Risk has been eliminated.
Yeah. And
the human eye won't even. I would bet that a lot of people didn't even clock it when they passed by, especially if they're not looking. If they're not looking critically.
Right, and that's something that a lot of people have pointed out. Like, you know, you started accepting non-human faces selling you products long before AI-generated models were a commonplace thing, and they're still not even that common. Because, as you said, of Photoshop, and there was so much controversy just about women having touch-ups and airbrushing on magazine covers. And then it got to social media with people face tuning and being able to edit their photos to the point where they're unrecognizable, and even using filters that make you into a different person.
Then you existentially ask, what does it even mean to be human anymore? Does it, at least in the context of advertising, does the fact that this person who wears this product has a soul, does that matter? To me as a consumer, I'm guessing it doesn't, and it certainly doesn't to the person selling the product, unless using a person with a soul is part of the ad campaign, unless you're going to make it about, look at us, we use real humans to advertise our products, which it'll become its own cottage industry.
Sure.
Of people who will use it as a form of boutique marketing.
Right.
Oh, we advertise with actual people shot in actual locations.
Yeah, but you're right that this has been a gradual process. Like, they couldn't have just, you know, used real faces this whole time and then unveiled this with no backlash. They're getting some backlash. For the most part, though, people are not clocking it at all. Yep. Because they've been, you know, conditioned to think that all women,
that 60-year-old women look like J-Lo.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And like, this wouldn't be acceptable or commonplace.
I saw a very interesting
without that.
I saw a very interesting like description the other day. They said your looks from 18 to 25 is what God blessed you with. Your looks from 25 to 75 is what you're willing to pay for.
One of the comments says, Devil Wears Prada 2 should be about Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep teaming up against whatever the hell this is.
Turn it into a superhero movie with like, this can be Galactus.
A lot of people are summing this up as an example of corporate greed.
It's not corporate greed. It's the natural evolution of these businesses. You can thank the government inflating your currency and the fact that everything is more expensive now for that more than anything. But it is capitalism. They're going to look for the cheapest route possible to reach the most amount of people with the best results. And as long as people accept this, this is where they ignore this part of capitalism, which is that if everybody actually cared, if this was actually a big deal to everybody, they would stop purchasing it, and therefore the market would correct itself, and this would stop. That's never going to happen. Not at the scale.
One of the comments said, what is the point of fashion as expression if it's just being rendered by AI instead of real humans?
It's not about expression. It's about selling things. I'm sorry. It's about a corporation selling. That stuff may matter for an individual. For a company with lots of employees and a line of clothes to sell, they're selling expression. It's not about expression.
They also think that this is racist.
Oh, because she's blonde and white?
AI is only able to render very monolithic European beauty standards, ski slope noses, large enhanced lips. Okay, large lips are not a stereotypically European feature. And blue-green eyes, and the perpetuation of that via AI is going to have long-term harmful effects. It is just uninspired dog shit through and through. I agree with the last part. It's uninspired dog shit, but people are gonna eat it up. That's inevitable. And
the company's gonna love it because they're going to save oodles of money.
They have been losing cultural relevancy for long enough that they're probably scrambling for solutions to cut costs and also get some attention, be it negative or positive. This is why they made the decision.
When it really comes down to it, when everything we experience now when it comes to our fellow human beings is the avatar of a person online and some text on a screen, it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know that that's almost doomerism, but to the average everyday person, you're not interacting with the soul of a person, or at least you couldn't even tell because you're not interacting with their flesh, like with their actual human body. You're talking to a picture of a person with a bunch of transcript at the bottom, and it was a very, very short distance between that and whatever the hell this is. Yeah, because this is more profitable.
Yeah, and I do think that it is preparing us for a transhumanist future. And as you said earlier, that also started with ways that people modified their own appearances by choice. And that was celebrated and seen as empowering and, never discouraged because, of course, there is an interest in making a profit off of it, too. Lip fillers, Botox, filters, Photoshop, Facetune, editing, angles. AI is just the logical conclusion of everything we've already done to divorce ourselves from our human spirit.
Yep. And again, as soon as your interaction, the vast majority of your interaction with other human beings started taking place through a screen, it was a very, very short distance from where all this started to now. Because the average person didn't understand, wouldn't need to ever Photoshop a picture of themselves in their lifetime. People took very, very few photos of themselves. Or had very, very few photos of themselves taken in a lifetime. And certainly you weren't taking them yourself. If you actually think about it, before the advent of the cell phone camera, the idea of taking a picture of yourself was weird because it was unwieldy. And yeah, maybe people did it with the disposable cameras when they went to parties in the early 2000s. But before the advent of the disposable camera or the digital camera, and even then, before that, it was a full-sized SLR or some giant rig that you had to use to shoot photos. You weren't shooting photos of yourself unless the theme was about a self-portrait or something like that. Yeah. Now, people use their camera for very little else other than to take photos of themselves.
Right.
We've become an extremely narcissistic culture and a very greedy culture, and the greed is just winning out.
So true. Well, on that bleak note, we should probably just go straight into the next topic.
That works.
Okay, so last week we discussed this viral women-only app called T, which was intended for women to share dating safety tips with each other. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It was actually about snitching on men that they had met through dating apps, about their performance in bed, about their height, about whether they're a walking red flag for any number of reasons. So it was really always intended for women to run to this app and gossip about private individuals and reveal their information. I don't know how this is still allowed on the App Store, but it's still up. It quickly rose to #1, and it's still getting tons of downloads. Unfortunately for its user base, though, 4chan ended up somehow managing to hack into the information database of T, and they released the personal information of more than 1.6 million users, which includes selfies that they uploaded to the app, as well as driver's license photos and their names.
And I'm guessing that was to prove that they were women?
Supposedly, yes, but this is what they willingly gave to T.
Giving your driver's license,
your
driver's license to an app that new is crazy work.
Crazy for them to even do that in the first place. Their intentions also being to, expose men for their private information and dating habits is also deranged. So, am I going to be losing any sleep over knowing that these women have had their own identities doxed online? No. This is a very clear case of karma, if that's something that you believe exists.
I was going to say, I don't know how I feel about karma, but if there was such an example, this seems like this would be it.
Yeah. So users' driver's license was used to verify that they were women, and they have been publicly leaked containing their addresses and photos of their faces. And that is now being posted everywhere, and they look exactly as you would expect. I would say the average BMI of a T app user is somewhere in the 30s. Lots of tattoos, lots of face piercings, lots of hair dye. It's not a pretty sight to see. And now men have retaliated against these women by creating their own website, which I believe is called T-Spill. I haven't been able to find the URL.
This is the most, this might be the most indicative of where things are between men and women, which is somebody does something and then both sides respond.
And then everyone's ugly. Well, look at, can you pull up the T-Spill
leaderboard
app? Yeah. With the prior photo. Yeah, this is click on the void you prefer, so you can rate the faces of the T-app user base, and then they end up on a leaderboard for who gets the most losses. And yeah, they look miserable.
They look really unhappy.
Yeah, they all look like miserable people. And of course, they have trash values. And do I feel any sympathy for them? I don't, but I was wondering if you did.
May be one of those examples where it's the app they were using specifically makes it very hard for me to muster up a lot of sympathy. I guess
I would probably download it just out of sheer curiosity for investigative reporting or something, but
look, this type of back and forth that men seem to be having on the internet makes it very hard for both sides to have any sympathy. I feel like it's good for your own soul to have it, even if sometimes they may not deserve it, more for your own well-being than for the well-being of others, meaning holding it against someone, even if you feel deep down that they deserve it, can sometimes be toxic to your own soul.
Yeah.
I tend to not operate under that premise, but that's also usually viewed as naive in today's day and age, that having a good amount of goodwill or giving people the benefit of the doubt, or even just being sympathetic or empathetic to people who may or may not deserve it, is just seen as callously by others, it's seen as like a flaw. And I tend to not operate under that premise. For something like this, it's more like, I don't think about it. Like, you know, I'm not going to end up on this app, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, with an example like this, you're just confirming all of these men's worst assumptions about the dating world and about women who are in the dating world, especially. I
would hope that the hack kind of sobers up some of the people using it.
Definitely.
And that perhaps they learn something new about themselves, or maybe perhaps they find that they're capable of more empathy and introspection. But I don't know if I would I wouldn't hold my breath and hope that that happens.
Yeah, it's hopefully a wake-up call for some of them, but I still see tons of women who didn't even download T clinging to the narrative that it's about warning each other of predatory criminal sex offenders in your area, which is just quite frankly delusional, okay? This app was never intended to do criminal background checks. You can do those without an app. That's why the sex offender registry exists. You can actually see who is in your area, who's on
Otherwise, it would be called criminality.
Right. But no, this was always for the purposes of leaning into, you know, toxic femininity and the specific vices that plague women the most, which tend to be gossip and vanity and reputational damage.
I think this is one of those things. This also might just be one of those things that as a guy, I can't relate, because the idea of even remembering these types of things, it's like when women talk about, like, when a girl asks you, like, what happened to your friend, and you're like, bro, I don't know. Like, he's like, something happens and you're like, oh, my friend said something, and they're like, what did he say? And you're like, oh, I don't remember. Like, I'm that way. Like, I don't remember. And I don't lose myself on details like this, but women love to commiserate through this type of...
Oh, yeah, they love, like, telling stories about, like, just bad dates that they've been on or whatever. And I love hearing them in a private setting, not on the internet and not on TikTok or T. You know, those are conversations for friends to have. One of the reactions to this whole hacking scandal said, I'm going to make an app called Coffee where the boys can warn each other on which girls are ran through.
Yeah.
And then another reply said, imagine the public outrage
But
there
that
would
wouldn't
be
work,
if
though,
this happened.
guys wouldn't, that just, like, guys probably wouldn't do that. They, like,
No.
they wouldn't care.
They wouldn't do it.
Hold on.
Thank you. Well, because these women let men that they date from, like, Hinge live in their heads rent-free, and that's why that's part of why they're miserable.
You give them a lot of power, too, by doing that.
Right.
Thank you.
And they just want to, like, take out their rage of, you know, their singlehood against random, unsuspecting strangers who did nothing to you. You know, even if you showed up to a date and a guy was, like, kind of a jerk to you or something, there's no justification for running to a forum like this and putting him on blast and, like, airing dirty laundry. There's no reason for it.
So do you think that this is karma?
I don't believe karma exists, actually, but, like, if it did, this would be a great example. Here's the thing, though. I feel like this is just another one of those stories, like perhaps the street interview where women were asked about choosing the man or the bear, where it's just going to be imprinted on a lot of people's psyches for a long time, and it's going to give you a certain bias about the real world that actually is detaching you from reality. Like, the vast majority of women who are single in the dating world, on dating apps, they don't engage in behavior like this.
The problem is that this shows you exactly... I've had that feeling about most things, which is that what you see online is not representative of the world at large, but it is representative of a corner of the world that's given a lot more importance than it actually has. But the internet seems to be mostly about finding things that draw people's ire, open-ended questions that get people to talk. My favorite one the other day was somebody, like, a woman asked on X, like, why do men spend 5 minutes in their car before coming in the house? And of course, everything is like, yeah, because they have to put up with your shit. They're stealing themselves to come in the house. Like, the point is to find ways to ask weird questions or philosophical ideas. It probably started with podcasts and the trolley problem. You know, you create some thought experiment to make people have opinions, and because it fosters engagement online. And fostering engagement doesn't mean that it's indicative of the real world. If you post something, it goes extremely viral and 14 million people like it. Well, that's 14 million people in a planet of 8 billion. Okay, that's not comparatively a lot, because it's not like you're even narrowing it down to your country. Half those are probably Indian bot farms.
True.
And even if it's 7 million people, even in your own country, at least in America, is not a lot, but it feels like a lot because of the amount of attention from, whether it's from news outlets or from the people you follow. You view the news outlets that you follow and the in the influencers that you follow and the independent media people that you follow as your window into the world, but they're not your window into the world. They're a window into a small corner of topics that garner enough attention to make worth talking about. And that's true of even the most independent of news sites.
Okay, what's weird to me, what like causes me to, you know, be a little suspicious about the prevalence of this app is people posting the geocodes for users. And pull up the tweet that I just sent you. They made searchable maps of T-app users' locations using the data that was unprotected. And this map is showing an almost universal, like uniform adoption of it across every area in the country, which is really weird to me. You would think it would be more commonly downloaded in cities or coastal cities, you know, but they're telling you it's just as popular in San Francisco as it is in Nebraska. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
There's something weird about this. There's something fishy about it.
Somebody posts a picture and it's like an infographic. You believe it's true because it's made into an infographic.
Yeah, there's just something about this that seems off to me. Yep. However, like the best case scenario that could result from this is probably a class action lawsuit against the developers of the app.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen, but I would love to see where that goes, because I think the men who had their information leaked on it have probable cause.
This doesn't feel real to me.
No, the map is very strange. Like, there is no way you can convince me that just as many people have downloaded it in Oklahoma as they have in, like, New York City. Come on now.
Guys, and girls, don't let algorithms and cleverly worded hypotheticals damage your views of other people. Like, if you're going to have a negative view, how about this? At the very least, if you're going to have an awful view of an entire gender or group of people, let it be from examples that have actually happened to you in the real world, rather than letting your opinions of others be colored by hypotheticals and articles online.
Yeah, and I just want to share this comment that I got on Instagram because I made a video about the T-app hack. This was, I think, exactly the type of reaction that you're referring to, where, you know, you can let a viral story like this really imprint on your psyche and let it like drive you insane.
Okay.
He says, I hate women. I hate everybody, but I'm biologically cursed with the desire to love women, and they're the worst, so I hate them especially. I'm happy some of them are suffering the consequences of their actions. I agree with that part in the middle. But I'm not fooled by the ones who call out feminists. You're just cashing in. You're guilty too. I hate women. That is word for word the comment. And I was just like, what? Like, the internet is one-shotting people. Yeah. Like, this is crazy.
Look, and this goes for people who watch this show. Like, we cover this stuff, we talk about it, but it's not something where when we do this, like, I don't want you to change your entire opinion of an entire group of people. At the very least, you should consider a ton of opinions from a ton of different people before kind of letting it imprint on you that you believe this about an entire gender or an entire group. I get it. It's easy to fall into that sort of death spiral because the internet does that to people these days. I think that's why I did something like delete X off my phone and actively work to spend as little time online as I can without it, hurting my job, which is, a requirement to kind of be up on this stuff. Like, I sent you a bunch of stuff this weekend, and I had X on my phone because I had to go into DC. I was like, something's got to do. I have to have a self-soothing technique of some sort if I have to be in DC. See, DC, I hate DC purely on my own personal experience of driving there in the physical world. I hate it. I hate everything about Washington, D.C., but it's not because somebody online told me to hate Washington, D.C.
Great example. Well, let's finish up these super chats.
All right.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Don't put that on me, Greg. Mary might beat me. She may be small, but she's scrappy." So true. Greg Duvier said, "Brett, how dare you like things that others don't? How absolutely dare you?"
It does feel that way anytime I like anything. People get like there is this kind of goes in line with what we were just talking about. Is like people are really invested in like hating everything a lot of the time. And I'm gonna be honest, like most of the time I'm either neutral or pleasantly surprised by how much fun I have. For instance, when I go to the movies, just the act of being in a movie theater is sometimes enough to make it a positive experience for me. So when people put different values on different aspects of storytelling, which is why, when I like a movie, it's usually for very, very specific reasons. And the reason somebody hates it will usually be because there was some element in the movie that was lacking that means a lot to them that just didn't mean a lot to me. For instance, the lack of clarification around Galactus's desire to take Franklin, right? Like, I didn't care. But at the same time, I hated Wonka, and I can't tell you why.
I mean, you were right to hate Wonka.
I hated The Crow, but I had very specific reasons. But sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just like, it's just vibes.
Pop Culture Junkie said Fantastic Four's lower budget by $25 million will make it easier for it to reach the magic times 2.5 budget break-even number.
Say that again?
Fantastic Four has a lower budget than Superman by $25 million, so...
Yeah, I still think that for a franchise with as much name recognition as the Fantastic Four, they probably should have shot for higher. I also feel like if they make an X-Men movie and it opens to this box office, that's not a good sign. Yeah. It needs to open to more.
Adam said, "Brett, did you like Unbreakable and how it's connected to the other movies?"
I liked Unbreakable. I remember almost nothing about Split and what was the other one? Glass.
What's Glass?
That Glass was the one that came after Split, right?
I don't know.
I only saw the first. I only saw Unbreakable multiple times. The other two, I don't even know if I finished Split.
Ktoth Swiss said, "In regards to the T app, I'm just waiting until we reach Cherry 2000 levels." I don't know what that is. Adam said, "Train to Busan, all the men sacrifice themselves."
Train to Busan.
Oh, sorry.
It's a zombie movie.
Okay. Mr. Joker said if Mary was Galactus, she'd take one bite of the earth like an apple and then stop to stay in a calorie deficit. It's mostly water anyway.
So maybe that's the thing. Like, Mary's who we need to be a planet eater because she wouldn't eat the whole planet.
Just fat shame Galactus. It's not that
hard.
You need to fat shame Galactus and then it'll be fine.
Look, we'll call him Gal. Gal. It's not 2020 anymore. Fat isn't in.
Gal, fat kiss.
You need to be in a planet calorie deficit if you really want to fit into that.
You are what you eat. A planet. Okay. The Manic Mustache said, "I was catcalled on time. It felt amazing." You were catcalled?
Lucky you.
By women? That's crazy. The Evil Time Wizard said, "I'm excited for new X-Men movies after Doomsday. Hope they get the characters right this time. The old X-Men movies did Cyclops dirty."
So that's kind of what I mean is like the X-Men has such name recognition that an X-Men movie opening to like $118 million, especially with the currency being at the valuation that it's at right now, just wouldn't feel like a whole lot. Maybe it would. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it should open to higher than that.
Hey You said, don't forget gyms where they wear revealing clothing, bend over and record men being helpful, spinning it as creepy harassment and try to cancel them.
I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to film in a gym anyways.
No. But to be fair, okay, if we're talking about watching videos on the internet and then, you know, somehow intertwining that with our worldview, I've seen videos of women who call out men who were secretly recording them and forcing them to delete the videos that they took.
Well, I mean,
taking creep shots.
Those
of
are
them
like
at the
vastly
gym.
different topics, I feel like. One's
No, I'm saying
like,
I'm saying if you're going to see a video online and think that that represents the real world, then I would see that video and think, "Oh, there are all these men at the gym who are perverts recording women's asses." But I didn't think that because that's schizophrenic to see a video on TikTok and think that that represents the world. Okay? I've also seen hundreds of videos of men who are wearing smart glasses, which we're going to talk about tomorrow.
I've still never seen this.
They're
You'll have
wearing,
to show me the
we've literally
examples.
watched them on the show before. We've literally watched an example of this on the show where men are wearing the Ray-Ban smart glasses or the Meta smart glasses or some other brand or the Snapchat glasses that are able to record people without their knowledge, and they make street content where they're approaching women and flirting with them and asking for numbers. And the women in the videos don't know that they're being recorded. If I took that content and somehow interpreted that to represent the real world, I would assume every man who talks to me in public wearing glasses is recording me and gonna post it on TikTok. That is not the real world, okay? Like, you guys are getting rage baited on purpose by influencers and TikTokers. Like, they're running psyops on the public at large.
I had a guy ask me once if I had like if my glasses were the recording ones, and I said, what?
They're becoming less detectable over time, and that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. But I'm just saying, you can't see videos like that and think that that is representative of the population at large. That is insane behavior. It's going to ruin your life. Weary Traveler said, sounds like that Twitter person is scared of Brussels sprouts. What?
Which one?
I don't know what that means. Shane H. Wilder said, have they never seen a show with a kid that doesn't want to eat their veggies? They're represented by 5-year-olds who won't eat their asparagus. I think it's about ARFID.
Yeah, they're talking more about adults who are not just children who don't want to eat their veggies.
The mayor of Serious Town said, I don't have ARFID, but at a young age I was diagnosed to be a hard-boiled detective and can only eat steak, eggs, coffee, and cigarettes.
It's probably good for you.
Well, whatever eating disorder that is, I want it.
You're going to live for a long time.
Yeah. Big Dave sent us 99 cents without a message.
Thank you, Big Dave.
Thank you, Big Dave. Weary Traveler said, I have IBS already and I don't want to see it on TV.
That response
Well,
almost feels fake. Like, nobody can actually believe you.
No, they're being 100% serious. Like, crazy people. Rodolfo Morales said, happy Monday, Mary and Brett. Have some money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shane H. Wilder said, they know she's a natural brunette, right? It's always the heavily pierced, bleached land whales with the butch lesbian haircut that scream Nazi. I don't know. It's now up for debate. Is Sydney Sweeney a natural blonde? Does it even matter? On the next episode, we'll find out. Rodolfo Morales said, was perusing through some vintage PCC episodes and was wondering when and why did Closer Kitty become Mary Archived? That is a good question and a deep cut.
Yes, it is.
I just wanted
Early
my name
days.
to be in my username.
Yeah.
And that was the one that I had for a couple years, like, before trying to use it for professional purposes. So I just figured, like, I need a username that matches on all platforms, and this is the one that I found that was available. So I kind of had to run with it. It's not my favorite. Pop Culture Junkie said, American Eagle stock price does not equal sales. Well, it's almost like seemingly American Eagle is more interested in selling their stocks than selling their jeans, because I don't think anybody is watching women. I don't think women are watching these ads and are like running to the American Eagle website to look like Sydney Sweeney in baggy jeans.
I mean,
the jeans suck.
We'll have to
The
wait and
jeans are
see.
awful.
But you said that you were at a mall over the weekend and you saw her image at the American Eagle.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't walk in. I went to Hollister to get their 2000s collection clothing.
How did that go?
I didn't find everything I was hoping to find.
too
I didn't
bad.
find like the classic V-neck sweater with the logo on it, you know? But maybe eventually. Adam said, even women don't want men. Rise of the AI. I wouldn't say this is most people, but, you know, you're seeing pockets of, like, you know, online communities that are embracing AI companions for sure. Shane H. Wilder said, just landed. Please drown out the dullest PSYOP ads.
Yeah.
It's kind of the worst.
Put earplugs in.
Weary Traveler said, Foyd City. What, DC?
I don't know, but DC
Is DC the Foyd City?
DC sucks.
Greg Duvier said, just found out Tia's been hacked again. Well, what more can they do? How can you hack it again? You can double hack it?
They changed the ratings on all the men.
To find what? You know, I mean, these men who have been doxxed on T need to find out, you know, how they can get a payout. That's for sure. Adam said, and then T-App and T-Spill find each other through this. It's like a really effed up rom-com. Shane H. Wilder said, maybe check to make sure an ish-talking app encrypts their ish before signing up. I don't think these people signing up are very smart.
They didn't offer two-factor authentication. That's when I knew something was wrong.
But that's what all of these tech companies are doing, frankly. Like, Meta is no exception to the rule. They're, of course, storing and selling your data. Shane H. Wilder said, the dude hates women. Okay, gay. I mean, I just worry about people who think like that. Like, that's such a miserable way to live your life. And it's like, the assumption, of course, in that comment is like, you're guilty for the T app because you are female.
Yeah. It's
I don't know what to even say to that.
There's so much hatred. Like one of the things that I find interesting is I asked you before the show, I said, like, we live by all of these really nice houses on like large plots of land. And in a culture these days that's so anti other people's success, or at least it feels that way, because everybody has some idea about how they would be better suited to have the wealth of somebody else because they would use it for more noble reasons. And like, we live in an area where I feel like if you're one of those people who looks at other people with envy, like, that's got to be a hellish existence. And I feel like that level of envy towards other people goes hand in hand with the level of hatred that person was espousing to you, which is, I just feel bad for them to kind of live in a prison of your own mind that you can't escape from because it's firmly planted on the behavior of others that you can't control. You've surrendered a lot of your self-ownership. You've surrendered a lot of your autonomy to somebody else when you allow other people's behavior to destroy you mentally like that. And I'm not talking about the people who are like, when somebody says mean stuff to you on the internet and they say like, well, you shouldn't just let it bother you. I get that. Like, you can't help it. But this is just somebody else's existence bothering you.
Yeah.
And that seems like a certain level of hell that I
or
would never
worse,
want
like
to.
someone else's fortune or happiness.
Yeah. Like,
bothering you.
I can't imagine living in a world where somebody else's success, happiness would be an affront to me because I feel like I am somehow more deserving or I would do more with what they have.
Yeah. That's a diabolical mindset.
It's I mean, it sets yourself up for failure
Yeah.
and sadness.
Vodka J Bulls said, don't want to see Die Hard remake where John McClane, sorry, has IBS.
He would say, welcome to the potty, pal.
These flies are getting in. I'm scared. Oof. Pop Culture Junkie said, Sydney Sweeney campaign, pump and dump scheme. You know, I'm almost thinking that because I looked into what happened with their stock sales. Okay, their stocks went up by like over 25% in the after hours trading, but then went down by like half. So the initial value that Sydney Sweeney's ad campaign generated for the company was something like 400 million-ish. But in reality, once you waited like a day or two,
Yeah.
it was like half that.
Maybe the idea
And
is...
like, where are the jeans sales? Like, are women going to buy these horrible looking baggy jeans? Not really. I think they're just selling stocks with all the attention the company is getting.
I mean,
it's a weird like rug
maybe
pull.
Maybe the idea is that it's supposed to lead to sales down the line, gets it back in the public
with
consciousness.
jeans like that.
Yeah,
those jeans were a sin. They were a crime against fashion and humanity.
All right,
we're all caught up on the super chats. What about the Rumble
let me
rants?
hold on. Let me check. Make sure
we
that
always
we're all
have to
caught
check
up.
Rumble.
Yeah, we always have to check. Just make sure that we're all caught up. Looks like we are.
Okay.
All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the content out with everybody that you know. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at MaryArchived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also MaryArchived. And you can help me get TikTok famous. That is also MaryArchived.
All right. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We're here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to listen rather than just watch the show, and you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which always helps out a lot. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.